Good evening, all. Okay, today's topic is about filters. Before moving to filters, let me, the last session, two activities are not working, right? It's not activities, it's related to the server. So let me check that. I actually tried, multiple times by installing that Apache. Okay, actually, it's taking few minutes for downloading required repositories. If anyone missed this activity, so you you people can refer previous videos. So this concept, the activities which I'm running now, those are for session handling, especially HTTP session interface. Okay, fine. Yes, server is started. I forward the validation part. So right, empty. Okay, so let me click on login. So it says that username is mandatory and please provide the username. Okay, so now let me give name. So it says, this is actually, I'm showing directly the session handling. Okay, now, let me click on, next page hyperlink. Okay, so when I click on next page hyperlink, so the name is not displaying. Why? Because, it's, this application is not having, HTTP session interface or HTTP session to track information. So when we needed, this HTTP interface for session tracking technique if we wants to submit data to multiple requests. Okay, so actually when I click on login, that is the first request. Again, when I click on next link, so that is a second request. Okay, so let me show you the logic. Let me explain you, because in the last session I've not explained, right? So when I click on login button, it will be redirected to this page, right? So it session Servlet 1 page, and here in this page, in this Servlet class, so we have do get method where we have print writer and username, right? So we are trying to get value from the user, and we are validating. So validation, and here in the validation, so username either it can be null or it can be equals to double quotes. It's an empty case only. Okay, and inside that, so in case if it is empty, we are including error message. So what is that error message? Is that so username is mandatory, so please provide username. Okay, so where this message will be displayed, so that will be in a same page, login page. See, so we are using request dispatcher. So hope you people are aware about request dispatcher, right? Okay, so yes, when we call this request dispatcher, we must include this rd.include method. We must pass this include method. Then only whatever the message we are writing, that will be included in the existing, right? So in that same page. Okay, right. So in case if username is not empty, so then directly it will be redirected with another page. So first of all, here we are displaying messages that page 1 welcomes along with the username. That's what it was displaying. It as in page 1 welcomes you along with my name. Okay, right. So and now, right, so after printing, again we have down we have hyperlink. So hyperlink by by the name next page. When we click on next page, actually here we are providing hyperlink as a session servlet 2. So this is a second servlet. Actually this is a URL, yes, URL pattern. Let me show you in the web.xml for the second servlet, session servlet 2. So please find session servlet 2. This is a URL pattern. Okay, right. uh, Yes, so we are, when we click on next page, it will be redirected to the second page. Let's, move to second page, session servlet 2. And here we are just printing. Actually, we are, of course, we are requesting the parameter from the user and then we are printing, but it's not, it's not in the sense the values are not in a session. So that is the reason when I click on next page, sorry, when I click on next page, it displays page 2 welcomes with null. We are not getting directly to this page. First we are getting to the servlet page, and from there we are redirecting, means we are giving hyperlink, right? So the reason is these values are not directly getting from the user, or we are not having any particular scopes in this page to redirect to the next page. That's the reason we are getting null value. So to come out of this, or to maintain session data or session information, so the next one I have taken with a HTTP interface, right? Now we'll see. I have some error in this. Okay, so let me import jar file. Um, path. Servlet, and let me close this. Right, so hope every, all the errors are gone. So let's click on login page. So, and right, after execution I'll explain you. I'll explain you the logic. So again, I'm not entering any details, I mean username. So I'll click on. So you guys can observe here in this, uh, same page, we are getting session ID. Okay, so when I was talking about HTTP, when I explained HTTP servlet, sorry, HTTP session interface. So yes, it provides, its own ID. Okay, so its own ID, and that ID will be unique per session. So now let me explain you. Please observe this session, ID. And now let me give you username. So I hope all of you are observing this, session ID. Okay. So let me remember it as in 88512. Okay. And now I'm clicking on next page. So is there any changes? You people can observe one thing is session ID is common for all three pages, all three requests. And now in the second page, second page also welcomes you the same user. Previously it was null. Am I right? So now, you know, we are able to, redirect same user values to multiple requests. So how is it possible? That's with the help of HTTP servlet, right? So when I click on login button, in login page, where is it? Right. So when I click on login, it will be redirected to the session servlet 1. Okay, so that is our servlet page, and it will be redirected here, and here again validation. Okay, so along with the validation, please observe here, getting session object. So how do we get session object? By using HTTP session interface, and it's, reference equals to request. So this is related to the request. So we are requesting session information. Okay, and we are printing what we are printing. We are printing session ID. That is the reason, in the top, at the top, it was displaying session ID for all three pages. But this is for the solid one page. Okay, solid one class. Right, so then we are requesting parameter from the user, and we're validating, right? And along with the validation, we are printing. So dot print, what we are printing. So username is mandatory. Please enter, username. Right, so we have else part. So I hope I don't need to spend much time here, because we've already discussed a few examples, activities on this, right? So in case if username, if we enter username or password, right? Yes, the control will be redirected to the welcome page 1. Okay, page 1 welcomes you with a green, we are printing username. Okay, and for again the same username, we are setting it as a session. So with the help of set attribute method. Okay, so that is, this is a reason when we click on, next page, so the values are displaying, because we are redirecting with a particular scope. Okay, so what is the scope of the session? you know if we want to submit a request to sorry, if we want to submit data to a multiple request, so then we can use this session object, actually HTTP session interface object. Hope it is clear, guys. One second. Okay. So this is about, the first servlet. And when we, move to the next servlet, let's see this, next servlet, that is session servlet 2. And here, please observe, we are getting again session ID. So please observe here HTTP session and its reference equals to request.get session. And we are printing, we are retrieving and we are printing the ID. And then we are setting, attribute. So what is this? So this is a, variable name. Where is that servlet one? Here. Please observe the same name here, where, we are setting this one, session variable. So what this is, what it holds, the username, because we are setting username for this, member, right? So this is how, session tracking can be done. Okay, one thing is, for a particular user, session ID will be common even for multiple pages. Hope it is clear. Any queries on this? Let me check. Chat. Okay, so this is about our HTTP. Actually, it was not, server was not worked with the previous class, so I executed this. I showed you this execution part. Hope it is clear for everybody. Let me close all. Okay. So the next concept, what we are going to discuss, that's about filters. So what is filter? Can anyone try from your end? So what is filter? So you people might heard, in general filter, right? So what exactly the meaning is about? No response from anyone. Okay, fine. So basically filter, basically filters are going to be used for performing authentication. Okay, authentication. So in general, let's give an example. Okay, so when we prepare a tea, so we cannot have tea with the tea powder, right? So we filter that, right, and then we'll have tea. So same way here. So there are multiple usages of filters, we can say this is for validation, verification, right? And also for pre-processing, especially this is for the pre-processing task. Okay, so there are many advantages when we use this, when we go with the filters. So the main task is for validation, verification. So if we can say in simple, we can call simple way it as a pre-processing and post-processing. Okay, pre and post-processing. Okay, right. So let's see, even we can have this is an interface in Servlet. I mean, yes, in Servlet API. Okay, right. So a filter is an object that invokes, at the pre-processing and post-processing of a request. Basically used for pre-processing and for the post processing of any kind of request. And these filters are mainly used for performing filtering tasks. So what is exactly this filtering task is about? So a kind of conversion or login, comparison, validation, encryption, decryption, and so on. There are many many advantages by using this filters. Okay, right. So even we can call, we can say this filters are a pluggable kind, pluggable. Wherever you need it, you can plug in that. Basically, we can say it as in with login, right? Login applications. S- So login applications in the sense now we are right. So now we are having online classes with ExcelR. So basically, if you want to register, right, so you need to have a particular credentials, right? So before when you before entering any information, so first it will register configuration file. If a filter is attached, it filters. So if filters in the sense, it will check the rules, the rules and regulations which is given by this application, especially with this XLR. Okay, so we can say kind of pluggable, right? And we can define. So actually it's not we can, so we must define this in web.xml file. Suppose if you don't want this filters, so then you can remove. So in that case, filters won't work. Okay, so we don't need to change the servlets, so we can just remove these filters from the configuration file. Okay, so this is how we can do with this servlet filters, right? And obviously maintenance cost will be low. There's no need of much more maintenance or taking more time for configuration, nothing. So it'll be very less cost, and maintenance is also very easy because it's a kind of pluggable. Okay, whenever you need it, you can plug in that, right? So what are the advantages of this filters? Yes, as we discussed, it is used for conversion, logging, comparison, encryption, decryption, and also for recording all incoming requests. Okay, for all incoming requests. Along with this, yes, it's a pluggable, and one filter don't have dependency into another resource. Okay, this is a one important usage of this filters. Suppose if one filter don't have any dependencies into another resources, so this is a one more one major advantage of this filters. Hope it is clear. There is nothing much about filters. Yes, it's very simple. It's an object. Okay, why I'm saying it is an object? It's actually a class, right? So I'm sorry, it's an interface. So obviously we can instantiate, we can have a reference of it, right? So then right, so as I said, it's a pluggable. Whenever we need it, we can plug in that, right? I mean, we can use this component. And yes, one filter don't have dependency into another resource, and of course it will be a less maintenance. So there are many various reasons, right? These are the advantages of this filters, right? So when we talk about filter API, so just like Servlet API, filter API, but this is defined in Java X Servlet. Okay, so whatever the interfaces or the important files we are talking, so these are defined inside this Servlet package as well, right? So this filter servlet or server filters are having its own APIs, right? And Java X Servlet package contains related interfaces. Okay, filter API related interfaces. So what are those? Those are filter, filter chain, and filter config. Okay, so these are the main three interfaces. Remember, filter, filter chain, and config. Okay, so what is the use of filter interface? So if we want to create any filter classes, then we must implement, we must implement those classes with this by using this filter interface. Okay, and of course, so if it is a servlet, we have life cycle, and for thread, we have the life cycle. Same way, even for the filters, we have what life cycle. So what are those? You know, so the methods which is provided by life cycle, those are init, do filter, and destroy. So when init method will be called when filters are initialized. Okay, and then we have do filter, so basically which is used for performing a kind of service. Okay, so depending on the logic which we implemented in it, so we basically use for performing specific logic, uh, defining specific logic. And we have destroy method. So as you all heard, destroy basically, it get called after completion of all the required operations in the sense initialization, do filter. Inside do filter there will be some configuration, right? After completion, yes, so this destroy method will be invoked. So when this destroy method invoked, that filters goes out of scope, or it'll be like taken out of the services. So this is about your filter interface. And then we have filter chain. Okay, so yes, even this filter chain is mainly it's responsible for invoking the next filter or the resources in chain, or the resources in the chain. And the object which we have taken, the object of this filter chain, which is passed in the do filter method. Object will be passed in do filter interface method. Please, point out this. So the method of do, filter interface. So object will be passed for this do filter method. Right. So, and this, filter chain is having one method specifically. So that is do filter. So what is the use of this do filter? Basically, it's used for passing control to the next filter or next source. Okay, so this is about your, filter chain interface. Any queries on this, guys? Filter chain. So as I said, so we have to define filters in web.xml. So how do we define? So with the help of filter element, filter and filter mapping, as same as our what is it, solid configuration we pass, right? Same way, so we can we also must pass the configuration for this filter. So with the help of filter name and filter class and filter name and URL pattern, same as servlets, there is nothing much difference, but only the elements are different. Okay, now we'll have one simple example how we define these um, filters. Oh god, something is started. This is for filters. Solid filter. Oh, I forgot to generate this deployment descriptor. Okay. So now let's create one, either a default package or any specific package, not an issue. But let me copy the web.xml. It's actually running here. So if any network, issue, please bear with me. Right, so here, yeah, I just copied and pasted here web.xml because I've not generated that deployment descriptor. Okay, so now let's create one package. So com dot this is for filter. Solid dot filter filter double R I'm giving, or else filter one. Okay, I changed name it as filters. Let's click on finish. And now create a servlet. So what is the servlet name which we can give? So let's take it as an my servlet. Okay, so this is my, servlet class name. So let's click on finish. Okay. So now let's go to our servlet get method. And now what we have to do here, as usual, we can write our print writer. Okay, so I'm writing here print writer, print writer, and its object. Okay, and its object equals to new. It's not new, it is response. Okay, response dot get writer. Okay. So now dot print. So here we can write anything. Method is getting executed. Okay, so you can mention whatever, whatever the message which you want to display. And right. So then we have, do post with. Okay, so here if needed inside your do post method, this is if required. It's not if required. So by default also it's taken it as an do get request and responses. Fine. So this is about the basic simple servlet, right? And it's not servlet, it is a servlet class. Okay, right. So now let me create one, filter. I'm creating one filter. Where is the filter? So here, my servlet. Let me give here as a filter. Okay. And right. So you people can observe here, when I type the filter name, so it's when it's not when I typing the name, when I selected to create a filter. So by default, that particular filter class, it's actually implementing from this filter interface. So you guys can observe here. Okay, so now click on finish. So now basically even for the filters, a kind of life cycle is there. So in that life cycle, the first method will be init method, and right. So do filter is a kind of service method, and destroy as usual, what we aware. And now actually I don't need to write anything here, but yes, if you want to print something to the browser, we can do that. Okay, so now print writer p equals to uh, response dot get writer. Okay, so after getting the what is it, right? So after getting writer object, let's go to print something. Okay, so print something with print. Okay, so here in the print you can write anything. So I'm writing here, service method communication or execution, you know, happened with the username we can write. Okay, so dot println, and here in the dot println, so what we can mention, I'll mention it as an execution method, or we can say service method executed or execution. Let me write here before service, before service method get executed. It's not out, it's been this semicolon should be outside. Okay, and now if you want to write something, you can write. So now what happened, so I'm gonna write, I'm going to write p dot right. So I'm gonna write p dot print. So p dot print. So inside print method, what we have to pass? Come on, what we have to pass? So actually we have to call a method called, it's not a method, it's an attribute of this chain, filter chain. So we can call this, chain dot in the next line. Chain dot um chain dot do filter. I had given semicolon instead of dot. Okay, so when I use a chain with a dot operator, automatically, the methods are populated, right? So inside this do filter, we have to pass servlet request and servlet responses, right? Servlet. Okay, so request and response. Oh, anyhow, down we have, right? Let me remove. Okay, so here, right? So anyhow, we have called a chain. Okay, so filter chain basically, uh, the request will be forwarded to the next what I can say, next resource. So what is the next resource? That can be, that can be HTML or Servlet or maybe JSP. Okay, right. So let me write some statements after this. So here, what is it? P dot print, and inside this, so after service method execution, I'm writing something here. After service method execution. Okay, so this is about, right. So this is about the message which I want to print. Okay, so now we have to configure this in a web.xml. First, we have to configure our classes, right? Let me copy this one. Okay, so after copying, let's go to our web.xml, and let me replace what is, Servlet. It is my Servlet. So paste this. This is my Servlet. Okay, and I have to replace this with a my Servlet. Okay, so I'm gonna pass filter configuration. Okay, so now please observe for this Servlet how we pass configuration. So we are done with the Servlet map, Servlet configuration, Servlet mapping, and now it is filter and filter mapping. Okay, so now filter, and inside this filter, filter name and filter class. So what is that filter name? No, that is my filter. Okay, and now filter class. So how do I copy this com.servlet.filters? Okay, so let me copy this, and I'm pasting here. Same as servlets, there is nothing more. Okay, now dot my filter. Okay, and yes, so let's get into it. Now what we have to pass? We have to pass filter mapping right now. So inside filter mapping, what we have to pass? Can anyone guess? We have to pass filter name and URL. It's not URL pattern. I'm sorry. It is a servlet name. Okay. So here, let me pass um, filter name. So what is the filter name? That is my filter. Okay. And now inside this, so we have to pass servlet name. So to which servlet we are passing this filter. So what is that? My servlet. Okay, so my servlet. Hope it is clear, guys. And now let me run this. Please observe, that console, not console, browser, right? Right, browser only. Why? Four, not four in the sense. Mistake is from I end. It's actually printing in same line, everything. So let me change. Before surveys, let's take break. So this one again. Before method get executed and then method is getting executed. So this one, so let right. Fine. And now right. So here also, let me take break, one before and one after. Okay, it is fine. So, right, whenever we attach, filters, first, before reaching to a servlet class, filter will be called. So this is pre-processing, okay? And after servlets, after servlets, if needed, again, we can call this filters for post-processing. Hope it's clear about um, filters. Any queries on this? I had given very basic activity for this filter. So basically where we can use, for filtering tasks like, any specific IDs like, what is it? www.gmail.com. So compulsorily we should have Gmail, right? Without Gmail, definitely it will not accept, right? No. So if anyone wants to log in with Gmail, right? So there we can attach this filters, you know inside filter, even we can pass configuration as well, with the patterns. Okay, that is about, solids. Any questions on this? Actually, we can get value from the user and we can do that validations and all. Shall we try one activity for that? Let me check any comments. Yes, there is a question. Yes, we'll come to that question later. For now, let me give one more, simple activity, hands-on one for filter. So this is for login. Assume that for login filter. Okay, login filter. Oh, web.xml. Okay, so here in web component, let's create HTML file. This is for the login page. Okay. Let me give it as an home page. Okay, so here form, here with the action, I don't know the action value, and method equals to get or post. Okay, and write name, input type equals to text, uh, and name equals to, so let me give it as an username. Okay, break, again break. Okay, and password, input type equals to password, and name equals to password. PSW I'm giving. Okay, so here break. Let me take one more break. And final one. So input, you know, input type equals to submit, and value. So here value equals to let's say submit or login. Okay, anything is fine. Login. Okay, and now let's define servlets. Okay, so first let us define servlets. Mm, let me take a default package. So I'm gonna take a default package. So in that, in this default package, I'm gonna define this, servlet. Mm, right. So I'm not giving any package name. So let's create. This is for. mm, Okay, so actually I'm taking it as a first servlet. Okay, and here with the post method, that's fine if we go ahead with the get method as well, not an issue. Okay, and now let's take response dot set content type, set content type, and here in the text content type it should be text slash java. Sorry, it should be HTML. Okay, and now print writer p equals to response dot get writer. Okay, and now so I'm getting so string string, let's say it as an user equals to request dot get parameter. So in this parameter, what we have to get, so that is uname, right? And now, so either you can print or you can you can just leave that, but for confirmation basically we used to print this values to browser, right? So p dot print, and here value is you know okay, welcome to Java class with the username. Okay, so that is user. Okay, so hope it's done. So this is very simple servlet. Fine. So now let's go to create one filter class. Okay, so now what is it? Yes, filter. So in this class name, filter class name, uh, let's take filter as my filter. Okay, click on next. Right, it's like implementing from filter interface. Okay, so inside this do filter, I guess it will not allow. Okay, fine, not an issue. So I'm not writing anything inside this, what is it? My filter constructor and with a destroy. Okay, so I'm only bothering about do filter. Okay, so how do we, what do we need to write here? So we can get that user and we can validate. Okay, we can validate that username and password. Okay, so what we need to do here, print writer p equals to response dot, it's not request, sorry, it's response. Okay, fine. So now again, username request dot get parameter, and that parameter name is uname, right? And if needed, you can print. Even you can, you can call that string, password, or that's fine. PS equals to request dot get parameter. Okay. So in this get parameter, I'm gonna write PSW. This is for username and for password. Okay. Validation. It's not actually validation. It's a kind of pre-processing. Okay. Fine. Now let's go to conditional statement. So I'm taking conditional statement as if. So username is not needed, but still let's go with both. Okay. Username dot equals to, let me write here, ExcelR and, okay, and password again. Okay, here I'm using and condition, and pass PAS dot equals ExcelR dot, no dot 1 2 3. Okay, and now get inside. So here inside this, yes, if condition, I'm gonna forward. So chain dot, this is an object of filter chain interface. Okay, chain dot, mm, chain dot do filter, and here we have to pass that request and responses. Okay, in case, in case if the condition is not true. Okay, else, so print message. Okay, so what is that? P dot print. So what is that? P dot print. And third, let me write it as an invalid username and password. Okay, and now in the next line, so we have to include this content, right? So request, request to dispatcher rs equals to request object dot get request dispatcher, and here we have to pass where we want to display error message. So where we have to display in the home page. So let's pass home page, home dot html, right? And right, so we have to call that RS, it's RD actually. Fine. So here, which method we have to call? It should be include, right? Request and responses. Okay. So now what we have implemented, everything is done. Let's go to web.xml. Actually, it is not there. Let me copy from the previous one. So let's copy here and get inside this web-inf and paste it. What happened? Okay. Okay. So now let me remove this all things. Okay. So please observe. Right. Now, someone raised a question with the multiple, what is it? Multiple files or multiple servlets, right? Please observe, the logic here. Okay. So I'm gonna define this, servlet configuration and servlet configuration and filter configuration both. Okay. So first servlet, and in servlet, I have two pass servlet class. So actually we don't have any, I have not created any packages, right? So what I'll do, I'll directly pass the class name. So let me confirm the class name once. So one is my, first servlet. So this is a servlet class. First, it should be servlet name. Okay, so it's my mistake, right? And yes, so let me copy and paste it. Okay, so this is about servlet and servlet mapping. Servlet mapping. So inside servlet mapping, what we need to pass? Servlet name. So again, same. And servlet URL pattern. Sorry, URL pattern. So let's pass same thing. Okay, if it is different also, it will be acceptable. Fine. And now I'm gonna pass it for servlet. And for this, servlet filter and filter name. So what is the filter name? That is my filter, right? My filter. I'm copying this and filter class, right? And now please observe for which page, you are going to apply your filters to be for pre-processing or yes, it's especially for the pre-processing. Okay, so now filter mapping. Okay, filter mapping, and inside this filter mapping, filter name and solid name. So guys, please observe here to which servlet are we providing what filter concept. So it's a pluggable, whichever the servlet you wanted, you can plug that, you can plug into that particular servlet. Okay, so someone raised a question for validation. For data validation, we don't, take this filter. Filter is specifically kind of, any conversions or any, encryption, decryption purpose, not for data validation, remember. Okay, So to which servlet we are passing here? So my servlet. I passed here my filter, so it is wrong. That is first servlet. So now let's go to our home page. And here in the home page, we have to pass the action value, right? So what is the action value here? Actually, uh, filter servlet. Let's go to home HTML file and write it. Okay, so let me confirm which method is taken here. Post method. So but here I had given get method. Let's change that. Okay, so now let me refresh first because I've done many modifications. So I'll refresh and now let's go to form run as run on server. So actually here we can okay, fine. So here I just entered. It's wrong. It should only pass this one. Just a minute, let me check this. Somewhere. Okay, because that default filter chain method was here. I should remove that. Okay. One minute. So here with H1 login form. Okay. Uh, Fine. So let me rerun this. I thought of moving this to center. Let me finish it off that. Actually, the center tag, it is actually discouraged in HTML 5. That is the reason we always get warning messages. Okay, so now it's somewhat better. Uh, Let me click on login. So hope you guys can observe, right? So invalid username and password. If you want, you can change the color, and you can display that message as an invalid username and password. Even you can display, please enter valid, valid username and password. Okay, so username is ExcelR. ExcelR123, yes. Right. So hope you guys can see. We are providing filter for this servlet. Okay, so when we enter, please observe here, you know, when we enter, validation part is like, username should be, username must be ExcelR and password must be ExcelR123, right? So to which servlet? Suppose if I have one more servlet in this class, what happens? There will be nothing, because in configuration file, there won't be any confusion. In configuration file, we specify, so we are providing mapping, mapping to which servlet this filters has to be provided. Hope it is clear now. First of all, let's take, one look here. Where is this? Yes, home page. So in home page, of course, it will be redirected. When I click on login button, it will be redirected to first servlet. Means this is a right. So when we click on login button, it will get redirected to first servlet, right? So now where is that first servlet in web.xml? Always, always when we click on any button like register, submit, or login, so that will be redirected to web.xml. Okay, so now in the web.xml, so before reaching to servlet, okay, before moving to servlet, our filter gets into the picture. Okay, so it will searches for the filter name, and 1 minute. I was wrong. It's not I was wrong. Okay. One second. What is my servlet class? This one, right? Hmm. Right. So here it searches about servlet. Okay. Of course, servlet and its class with servlet mapping as well. Okay. And again, immediately we have filters. Okay. So it will searches for the filter. Fine. It will search for the filter and along with the filter mapping. Okay. And in the filter mapping, so either if it is URL pattern, there won't be any confusion. So it will go ahead with a URL pattern. If not, if we specify servlet name, suppose assume that we do have one more servlet or a few more servlets. Okay. And in that cases, in such cases, you can specify to which servlet you have to pass, you have to provide these filters. Okay, so here I can assume that this can be given for ExcelR. Okay, in such cases, I have to create one solid class for ExcelR, right? And for that, for that ExcelR, I have to provide this filters. Any candidate, before login, or yes, before login to this, ExcelR, they have to register, right? And for registration, yes, there will be few, follows a few steps we need to follow, right? And yes, after registration, again, you people have to enter, you know, your ID. So your ID means, mail ID, uh, mail ID with, I don't know how exactly it is taken, but yes, as in general, I'm taking. So either it can be gmail.com, right? Or it can be, the mail ID. So here actually I'm not given about mail ID, but even for basically for companies or any login options, so there will be specific, resource name like gmail.com or excelr.com, so on. So okay, so now yes, in web.xml it finds, it finds a solid name. Okay, and for before reaching to this solid, it provides a filter, which means the control goes to this filter class. And here in this filter, you know here in this filters, it gets, it gets that username and password. Okay, whatever the username and password which is entered, or entered on login page, it will be retrieved. And so what is the logic here? We are evaluating, right? I mean, we are validating. So what we are validating, so it is checking for the username and password, right? So username should be equals to, it must be equals to ExcelR and ExcelR123. If equals to, if it is equals to the given values, then it will be redirected to do filter. In case, in case if that username and passwords are not matching, so it will not enter to this filtering. Hope it is clear. Suppose if I enter, you know, uh, just ExcelR, so it will not, get into the filter concept at all, right? So it just displays, error message. Okay, so this is how, the flow works. And right, suppose, now our username and passwords are matching, and now it is chaining, which means chain dot do filter. Now the control reaches to this Servlet, because we are providing chaining part here, right? Servlet name. So when this method called, when this chain dot do filter method call, get called, so that time it calls, recalls that Servlet class name, and it reaches to that class, and yes, then it prints. It's whatever the logic we have implemented here, depending on that it performs. Again here you can validate. Okay, again here, you can validate, or you can write the logic which you want, but here as in simple I have written a welcome message, or welcome to Java class. That's it. So this is how, flow works with the filters. Hope it is clear. With multiple servlets, again same repetition, so we have to pass, uh, suppose, where is it, web.xml. Suppose assume that we have second servlet. Okay, for second servlet also we have to pass the configuration. Control set. Let's take this one. This is for the second servlet. Actually here it is giving error because, so I'm passing it as an S servlet. Okay, and now, so let me try to pass here one more servlet. If you want, you can let me pass a servlet. We can pass, but I don't feel this is a good thing. Okay, but yes, if you want to deal with multiple, filtering, sorry, multiple servlets with the same filtering. Same filtering in the sense, even for the second servlet also, you need to have same logic, in the sense ExcelR with ExcelR 1, 2, 3, especially for the validation, username and password validation. So you can go ahead with that. The rest of the things are same, common, nothing difference. Hope it is clear. What we do in web.xml. So we have to provide configuration. So we don't need to do anything, just needs to pass, configuration. I hope same, right. Same, validation won't be passed for multiple servlet classes, right? But if required, then definitely, if required, then definitely you can have this one. Hope it's clear, guys. Okay, fine. So now let's move to another, concept, uh, filter. Okay, just a second. Okay, give me a minute. no charge. So I'll plug in. Okay. Now I'm moving to a concept of web servlet. It's not web servlet. Servlet 3. Servlet version 3.0 in a sense, especially with annotations. Okay, annotations. Mm, annotations. Okay, let me give you when we use annotations. So first of all, what is annotation? Annotation in Java. It's general concept, okay? So what is the use of annotations? Okay, so this is for Servlet version 3.0, but it will not accept. So I'm generating web.xml. I mean, deployment is scripted. Please observe. Okay, so let's go to this. Right. So for now, we are not taking anything. Okay, let's go to our resource and mm, let me create a servlet class. Okay, so let's take it as a login servlet. Login servlet. Okay, so now let me go to HTML file. So what I'll do here, form. I'll just copy this one. Okay. It's just a login form. So I'll just go here and I'll copy. Right. And I'll remove this. Okay. So now the topic is about annotation. Mm, Okay, before this, let me write that annotation part. So yes, what is annotation? This is Chandra Prabha. The course duration will be, 40 hours. I cannot give you exact date. So 20 hours, sorry, 40 hours is the timings. So maybe 20th or 19th, it might, finish. Promote. Okay, fine. So annotations. So I'm just giving you, what is the need of annotation? Okay, because annotation itself is a very big thing. We cannot, finish it off. First of all, we don't have that in advanced concept. Okay, so annotations, these annotations are very important. When we use these annotations, we don't need to go with the, configuration files like our deployment descriptors. That's our web.xml. Okay, so what exactly, annotations will do? So annotations helps to associate, information to the programming or program elements. Okay, so those elements can be a instance variables or, methods or constructors or classes and so on. Okay, it's basically which is used for providing information about that particular, component. Component can be a variable or a method or a class. Okay, actually I should write this in a solid class. Let me write that there itself. Okay, so already I have created, Servlet, right? So here in Servlet, okay, so I'm gonna write here annotations, you know, annotations. Basically, it, helps to understand or helps to associate, um, right? Helps to associate, you know, metadata. Okay, metadata to the program. Right, so metadata, or we can say information as well, so don't be confused, metadata or information. Okay, so information to the program elements. Okay, as I said, those elements can be methods or, variables, mm, yes, classes or constructors also. Okay, so what are all, there are different types of annotations. Okay, in that, in that what we are using now, that is web servlet. Okay, so these annotations are introduced in 3.0 version, servlet 3.0 version onwards, they will introduce servlet annotations. Okay, and So when we use this, web servlet annotation, so here we don't need to, have servlet session 3, right? So we don't need to provide configuration here. Okay, so now without configuration, we can redirect it to our servlet class. So how is it possible? See, look here at web servlet along with a web servlet here. By default, it's actually by default, it's generated with a servlet name, that is login servlet. Now we can use this, name as, you know, URL pattern. Okay, so let me, show you that one simple example. So what is this? Let me take, I'm just trying to print something. Then we'll have one simple example for filters as well. Okay, response dot set content type text slash HTML. Okay, so after that, right, print writer p equals to response, response dot get writer. So now what I'll do, I'm just printing p dot print, welcome to, mm, okay, welcome to Java class. So this is the only one message I'm trying to print. Okay, so let me take, header part. One. Okay, so now, right, let's go to this new file only now. So when we are moving to this, new file, so you people can observe here, we have not provided any configuration like solid, configuration, solid mapping, like filters, so nothing, right? So then how do we, how do we redirect? So this is with the help of this annotation web servlet. Okay, so let copy this, go to that new file and place in the place of action value as login servlet. Okay, now let us, deploy this. Okay. Why this is because, let's see, slash login servlet, remove this slash. Okay. It's not restarted. I don't think it will get, post is not supported. Right, so this is a get method. Let me refresh my project. Refresh or can, can go with a, what is it, clean. So you can go to, you can select project and that clean, you can do this one also. Okay, so now let me run. Here validation or, nothing. I have not passed anything. Just I entered, login login form with a web servlet annotation. So hope you guys can see. So this is how without our configuration file, with the help of annotations. Okay, so now here in this solid file, we are using annotation at class level. So as I mentioned here, so these elements, elements can be given or applied on variables, methods, classes, and constructors as well, right? So now the the annotation which I used for class level, okay, on the above. So wherever you wanted to, if it is with variable, suppose if I declare, a variable here, uh, above that variable name or a field name, suppose, int int number. If I want, without using any specific, uh, value here, should I take, right? Suppose if I wanted to use any, what to say, any annotation at field level, so I should use at annotation, okay, along with the, I guess here, okay, so yes, we have many more, annotations. Okay, so you can use anything, but it's only up to the mark need of it. Okay, so for now I don't need anything actually. Let me take deprecated. Okay, so hope you guys find the difference when I click on, control S, what happened? Right, so when I use, at deprecated, so it is giving underline for this number. Deprecated indicates that the, whatever we have defined, either variable or methods, so that indicates, deprecated indicates that those are the uh, old version properties, either can be variables or methods or, classes. But just for, showing purpose, I have mentioned here. Okay, and always remember, annotations will be started at, will be started at the, at symbol. Okay, at, always it will be started with the annotation as an @ symbol along with a specific name. So this is about your, only I have given only the servlet, only web servlet I'm talking. So we have many, annotations. So if needed, you can mention here and you can check here. Functional interfaces, we have web servlet, we have addressing, XML, metadata, so many are there. Okay, depending on the necessity, yes, we can use. Okay, and now I just want to give you one, one more activity for our, filter activity, in the sense, with the same I'll include, okay, filter concept with annotations. Where is this? Can I go with the same? Okay, I'll do, few more changes here. So this is all I had given it as a login server, right? So that is fine. Hmm. And let me create, let me create a filter. So filter name, let me give it as in my filter. My filter. Okay, and now click on next. So it is, it's generating servlet name or URL pattern is /my filter, and click on next. If needed, I can, we can click on add, we can add anything here. Okay, So actually you people can observe, as a servlet name, it is taken it as an login servlet, right? So let's click on next and finish. So hope you guys, find the difference for filtering, filtering or yes, for servlet filters without web.xml or deployment descriptors, yes, we can provide filtering tasks with the help of at web filter annotation, and annotation, I mean, for this filters, URL pattern is slash, forward slash with a my filter, and to which solid class it, we are providing this filter. So that is for the login solid. Okay, so or else, let me create one more solid here. Let's take one more solid. Mm, welcome. Okay, this is for the package classics. Okay, so I had created one more solid, fine. And now so my filter, and you can have here. So for both, for both the servlets, we are, these filters are going to be provided. Okay. Right. So please observe here. In place of servlet name, it is taken it as in servlet names. Okay, we can replace that with the servlet names. Okay. Right. So now let me, write simple logic here. Nothing. Just before and after. Let me write, one println statement. Println statement is okay. I should create an object, right? So print writer. Print writer p equals to response dot get writer, and this is before p dot print let me write it as an before service method, and this after this chaining. Okay, after this do filter chain. So again p dot print up after service method. Okay, after service method execution. Fine. So now, yes, I do have here. Okay. So before service method, our filters are accept, come to the picture, and then welcome message is displayed. I mean, this is a service method of our servlet. Okay. And then it is about after completion of or service method, again filters, or this is called as an post processing. Okay, if you want you can replace this. Okay, so in filter, let me write here in a break pre processing, and here it is post process. Okay, sorry. Okay, post processing. I guess I should redeploy this one. Hmm. This is called pre-processing, and after the service method, what it gets executed, that is post-processing. That can be any logic. Okay, so while logout, if any logic needs to be implemented, or any messages you want to display, so that's all about post-processing. Hope it is clear. Any questions? Can we apply multiple filters on login servlet? You can apply. Okay, we can apply, but that won't be good thing, in real time, right? Yes, we can apply multiple filters on login servlet. Mm, okay, so actually, I'm not that clear about some other options. Options in the sense, if we have more than 20 servlets URL patterns, so I'm not you know clear about that. I'll get back to you in the next session, which is related to this question. Is there any other possibilities? Because I never tried. This is, yes, per mode, fine. So, but one question is that, can we write in filter mapping 20 solid URL pattern? So basically that is a one option, but yes, let me check if is there any other possibilities or not. Okay. Yes. Any other questions? Okay, no more questions. One question left out, that 20 solid with the 20 URLs. And apart from that, everything is clear. Hope, Pramod, it's clear now. Fine then. So we'll wind up the session, because if I start the session one more topic, it'll take a few more minutes. So we'll continue in the next session. Okay. Thank you all.